silent contracts are the problem, not your calendar, not your boss, not the economy. If your life feels heavy, there is a good chance you are paying rent to rules you never agreed to out loud. You are not losing to fate. You are losing to 7 quiet contracts you keep signing with your own mind. They feel responsible. They sound mature. Some even sound stoic. But they are resilience killers. Example, you wake up, grab your phone, and your chest tightens at one email. You think, if they are disappointed, I am in trouble. At work you hear, we are pivoting again. And your mood drops like someone pulled a plug. Later, you tell yourself, I should be able to handle this. And that sentence is where the trap lives. It is awkward to admit, because it sounds like you are making excuses. But it is the opposite. This is taking ownership. In this self-sabotage audit, you will spot 7 stoic-sounding habits that make life harder. Then cancel each contract with a one-line rule you can use today. By the end, you will have a simple scorecard to find your weakest link and fix it this week. Tiny rule. Name the contract before you obey it. I am about to outsource my peace to something I cannot control. Outsourcing your peace to something you cannot control is the fastest path to feeling trapped. Stoicism is not feel nothing. It is stop handing over the steering wheel. It is about internal sovereignty when pressure hits. Not perfect calm. Here is the self-sabotage audit. Ask what you are demanding from the world. Ask what that demand makes you do or avoid. That is the cost. Then replace it with a rule you can keep because it sits inside your control. Example at work, the goalposts move and you mutter, this is impossible. Your stomach drops and you burn the morning replaying it. At home, a tone shifts and you fire back before you think. It is awkward to catch yourself mid-reaction, but that awkwardness is the doorway. These are scripts, not traits, and scripts can be rewritten. Habit number 1, addiction to externals. Prefer. Don't require. If you can keep that one sentence in your pocket, you stop turning life into a hostage negotiation. The moment you require praise, money, or status to feel okay, you hand your nervous system to the world and hope it handles it gently. Picture the smallest version of this. You wake up, grab your phone, and see it. Only 12 likes. Your brain instantly goes, so we are failing today. You did not decide that. The contract decided it for you. Then, at work, you finish something solid. And when no one mentions it, you feel a tight little drop in your stomach. You hear yourself think, if I do not get credit, what is the point? That is not ambition. That is dependence wearing ambition's clothes. Stoicism calls money, reputation, and applause indifference. Not worthless, just unstable. Fate can refund them at any time. If your peace is priced in something unstable, you will live in permanent anxiety. So here is the replacement rule. Said out loud like, you mean it. I prefer it. But I don't require it. My worth isn't up for auction. And to make this real, run a quick scorecard. Tonight, give yourself a 0 to 3. How many times did your mood swing because of money, praise, or attention? Once externals run your self-worth, you will start trying to control what you cannot. That is the next habit. Habit number 2. Violating the dichotomy of control. Bid versus verdict is the difference between effort and outcome. And it is where most people accidentally lose the steering wheel. If you just said, "I prefer it, but I do not require it," this is the next test. Because the world will still hand you verdicts you did not ask for. Picture a normal morning at work. You walk into a quick meeting and hear, "We are pivoting." Again, you feel your throat tighten and you blurt, "But that ruins my plan." Inside, a second voice shows up fast. "If this fails, I am done." That voice is trying to control the verdict, not your bid. And it will punish you for reality all day. The Stoic move is simpler than it sounds. Stop treating outcomes like they are yours to command. Outcomes are weather. Your bid is the thing you actually own. The part where character shows up. Say this one sentence out loud when you feel the panic spike. Control the bid, not the verdict. I own effort, strategy, and integrity. Nothing else. It can feel awkward the first time, like you are letting yourself off the hook. But it is the opposite. It is choosing the only hook you can actually hold. Then run a 2-column audit. Column A is mine. Effort. Choices. Preparation. Column B is not mine. Results. Opinion. The past. When you catch yourself ruminating, rewrite the thought into column B and move one action into column A. When you cannot control outcomes, the next temptation is to chase comfort. That is where resilience dies quietly. Habit number 3. The safety trap. Avoiding discomfort as a lifestyle. Comfort starts to look like a strategy when you are tired of verdicts you cannot control. The problem is that comfort is not safety. It is a sedative, and it makes the next stressor feel lethal. You see it in tiny moments that feel reasonable. A friend says, "You should apply." Your mouth says, "Not ready yet." Your brain adds a flattering reason. "I need more time. I need more clarity. I will do it when I feel confident." Translation: I refuse the reps. Then complain, "I am weak." That is the safety trap. You keep your world small, so you never have to feel awkward. But then, a real problem shows up and you have no training data. Stoicism is blunt here. The mind is like a muscle. It adapts to what you expose it to. If you protect it from discomfort, you do not get peace. You get fragility. And fragility is expensive. You pay for it later in panic, avoidance, and overreactions that surprise you. So, the replacement rule is simple and specific. I train discomfort on purpose. Small, daily, controlled, 1 rep a day. Send the hard email you are postponing. Ask for the feedback you are avoiding. Take the cold walk. Do the last set. Say no once, without a speech. Check a box when it is done. If you miss the rep, write the excuse, word for word, not the summary. The exact sentence. Seeing it on paper is uncomfortable, which is the point. Avoiding discomfort often turns into broadcasting pain. Because the mind wants compensation. That is the next sabotage. Habit number 4. Performing pain, turning suffering into identity facts. Not biography. If you were training discomfort reps yesterday, This is the predictable rebound. The mind wants compensation. So it turns pain into a performance and calls it honesty. You see it in a group chat at night. Someone asks, "How are you doing?" You type, "I'm exhausted." Nobody gets it. A friend replies, "Do you want to talk or do you want help?" And you answer, "It wouldn't matter." Notice what happened. Pain became a story with a role you have to keep playing. Your nervous system whispers, "Stay wounded." It keeps you safe from expectations. If you are the person who is always struggling, no one can ask you to step up. And you never have to risk failing in public. Stoicism does not deny pain. It denies the identity you build around it. Pain is real. Performing pain is optional. And performance multiplies pain because you rehearse it until it feels like the only true version of you. The replacement rule is clean and a little uncomfortable. Describe facts, not a biography. This happened. I'm handling it. Facts keep you moving. Biographies keep you stuck. Here is the test. Keep a complaint ratio for 24 hours. For every complaint you speak or type, log one concrete action you take within 24 hours. Even tiny. One message. One walk. One boundary. One request. If there are 0 actions, it is performance. Performance keeps the story alive. The next habit goes further and turns the past into a prison sentence. Habit number 5, treating the past as a verdict. Past is data. If you are just practicing facts, not biography, this is the place where the biography tries to sneak back in through the back door and call itself truth. You miss a deadline. That is the fact. Then the inner judge shows up with a sentence that sounds final. You always do this. You say it to someone at home too. Like you are presenting evidence in court. I'm just a mess. That's who I am. It feels honest, but it is actually lazy thinking, because it collapses a moment into an identity. Stoicism draws a hard line here. History is not destiny. The past is a record, not a verdict. You can learn from it without living inside it. But you have to stop treating yesterday like it has voting rights over today. So the replacement rule is simple and specific. Today is evidence. I'm not who I was. I'm what I do next. It is awkward at first because it removes your favorite excuse, the story that you are built this way. But it also removes your favorite prison. Here is the alarm you set for yourself. Listen for identity language. I am lazy. I am broken. I am weak. The moment you hear it, rewrite it as behavior plus next action. I avoided it today. Next, I'll do 10 minutes. Not later. Not when I feel like it. 10 minutes. Do that often enough, and your brain stops arguing with the past and starts working with the present. And when you believe the verdict, you look for a jury. That is how sovereignty gets outsourced. Habit number 6. Outsourcing sovereignty to the crowd. Agreement versus alignment shows up in the smallest conversations, and it quietly decides who is driving your life. If you need agreement to feel steady, you will keep handing the steering wheel to whoever speaks the loudest. Picture a family dinner. Someone leans back and says, "So when are you getting a real job?" You laugh, because it is easier than making the room tense. Then, later, alone, the spiral starts. Maybe they are right. You replay the tone. the smirk, the pause after the question, and, without noticing, you adjust your next month to avoid disapproval. You say yes to plans you do not want. You pick the safe option. You shrink your goals into something that will not get commented on. That is outsourcing sovereignty. You are renting your self-respect from people who do not pay the bill. Approval becomes your compass, and it points you in circles. It feels practical in the moment because conflict is awkward. But the price is that you stop trusting your own values. So the replacement rule is one line, and it is clean. I don't need agreement. I need alignment. Agreement is social comfort. Alignment is living by what you actually believe, even when nobody claps. Tonight, run a quick check. Ask one question about your biggest choice today. Did it match your values? Yes or no? If no, write what you were trying to win. Praise, peacekeeping, status. Seeing the motive in plain words is how you get it back under control. The crowd triggers you, and then you skip the only space where freedom lives. The gap between stimulus and response. Habit number 7, skipping the gap. The Stoic gap is the only place you can actually choose. It is the space you were about to skip the last time you chased agreement instead of alignment. Example, you are in the kitchen and you ask a simple question. Your partner answers, "Sure," but the tone lands sharp. Your body reacts first. Heat, tight chest. You start building a story at sprint speed. You say, "Wow, okay, I get it. I'm the problem." Then you walk away, slam a cabinet a little too hard, and spend the next 10 minutes rehearsing your case. 10 minutes later comes the familiar aftertaste. Regret. Not because you are evil, but because you were flooded and still tried to drive. Stoic power is not being calm all the time. It is the pause. Without it, you are not choosing. You are discharging emotion and calling it truth. It is awkward to stop mid-spiral, especially when you feel justified. But that awkwardness is exactly what freedom feels like at first. So use the rule. I don't answer while flooded. I'll respond after 1 minute of silence. 1 minute is enough to get your prefrontal cortex back online. Here is the 60-second break. When you feel the surge, exhale longer than you inhale 5 times. Unclench your jaw. Label the emotion. Anger, fear, shame, whatever is true. Then choose one response. Later, clarify, or no, cancel this contract. And the rest get easier because now you're the one driving. The Stoic gap is not where you become cold. It is where you stop being a puppet. Here is the myth: if you stop valuing externals and stop reacting, you will become passive. But Stoicism does not remove ambition. It removes dependence. You can still pursue money, love, fitness, respect. You just stop making them the rent you pay for self-worth. Example, someone criticizes your idea in a meeting and you do not snap back. You pause. Ask one question. Then choose your next move. It feels awkward, like you are letting them win, but you are staying in charge. That is not numbness. It is responsibility. Passive is I cannot. Stoic is I can, but I choose not to, because it is beneath my values. That pause, that stoic gap, is where you notice what you have been calling strength. A common tell is when someone says they do not care, but their behavior is built around avoiding one conversation. They skip feedback, dodge the hard ask, and label it stoicism. It is awkward to admit, because it sounds like weakness, but it is just avoidance. One change is to ask for feedback, then act on it. The stoic gap gives you a clean place to test yourself, not just agree with ideas. So run the SSA week and cancel one contract per day. Day 1. Externals. Prefer. Don't require. Day 2. Control. Do the 2-column audit. Day 3. Discomfort. 1 rep. Day 4. Pain performance. Keep the complaint ratio at 1:1. Day 5. Past verdict. Today is evidence. Day 6. Crowd sovereignty. Do the alignment check. Day 7. The gap. Use the 60-second break. Keep it simple with a daily scorecard that takes 60 seconds. External dependence. 0 to 3. Discomfort reps. 0 or 1. Complaint ratio. Actions per complaints. Alignment. Yes or no. Gap used. Yes or no. If you miss a day, do not restart the week. Just continue. That is the practice. Keep the scorecard and keep going, even if you missed a day. If any of these habits felt uncomfortably familiar, treat that as useful data, not shame. That is how you stop signing the same contract on autopilot. Pick one contract you have been renewing and cancel it today with the one-line script. Then comment the contract you are cancelling. Just the label. Externals. Control. Safety. Pain. Past. Crowd. Or gap. If you want more Stoic systems like this, practical and testable, subscribe. Next, we will build a resilience architecture so setbacks stop feeling like personal insults and start feeling like training.